Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Jake Silvers Show. President Donald Trump wants all of his supporters to go and eat a dick. Simple as that. He believes that if you think the Epstein files are real and that they weren't conjured up by those evil Democrats, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, James Comey, if you don't believe that this is all some liberal left-wing conspiracy to take down the president, then he wants you to fuck off. Simple as that. He doesn't want your support. He thinks you're stupid, and he believes that you just need to move on. So in order to assist with that process, the administration is currently introducing or reintroducing the Russia hoax. Tulsi Gabbard details bombshell claims of Obama-era cabal's treasonous conspiracy against Trump. Fox News is calling this the biggest political scandal of all. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard detailed striking findings from declassified documents released Friday, claiming to showcase overwhelming evidence that an Obama-era cabal laid the groundwork for what would be the years-long Trump-Russia collusion probe after the 2016 election. Gabbard says over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. You know what I think of when a bipartisan issue has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic? Maybe the lives of thousands of innocent children involved with the Epstein Island. Horrendous things that went on there. Maybe the hundreds or thousands of powerful world leaders that are involved with the Epstein files. Maybe that should be so serious that it should concern every single person in the American public. But no, that list doesn't exist, guys. We should be more concerned about what we already knew. We already knew that the Russia hoax was indeed a hoax. We knew the Democrats were panicking to find a way to not let Donald Trump into the White House back in 2016. So there's the Trump administration strategy is like, what can we bring up that's real? And they're like, 2016, perfect. So they go and declassify some more documents. So the MAGA supporters can go, oh yeah, that's right. I remember that. They lied so Trump couldn't get elected. Slowly, surely, day by day, they're going to work their hardest to move past this whole Epstein thing. I give it 2-3 months, no one will be thinking about it. At least on the right. They'll finally move on. You'll of course have your real ones who will never forget. And keep doing it. Keep heckling these conservatives online. Keep heckling your Charlie Kirks. Keep on heckling every conservative voice out there that is trying to get you to move on from the Epstein list, because we will not take no for an answer. And eventually, either Donald Trump's going to be held accountable or his entire administration will have no choice but to release some sort of Epstein list. This isn't so much of a thing that it's not like we need the list to know who's on it. We have a good idea. It is a principle thing at this point. The American people deserve to know the truth, and they think that we can't handle the truth, but we need it. We need it in order to move forward as a nation, in order to move forward as a human race, because this evil that runs so deep into our societal structures, it doesn't run deep within our own cultures and our own people who go to work every day and love each other and spread happiness and share their wealth. This is deeply rooted in the highest powers of our societal structure. Your government leaders, your owner, your big global corporations, the owner of those corporations. This is where they have created this treacherous amount of blackmail and, unfortunately, a CIA and Mossad-led infiltration of all worldwide governments. When she was asked if she expects to see prosecution, she vowed to do all that she can to ensure accountability. We have whistleblowers actually coming forward now after we release these documents because there are people who were around, who were working within the intelligence community at this time, who were so disgusted by what happened. I'm sure the people in the intelligence community were so disgusted by the Democrats lying. This is just fucking bullshit. I mean, it's so. I was thinking about this earlier today. It's honestly laughable that even just with classified documents, the Department of Justice isn't allowed to pursue any of these matters until things have been declassified. So you have a whole community, the government, within our society that is allowed to know certain things about crimes that have gone on within our country for years on end, sometimes decades. And the American people are just left in the blind. We're left in the dark until said documents revolving around any of these issues are declassified. I just think it's crazy. So to call any Democratic-led agenda a cabal, it's all a cabal. They're all gay, they're all evil, they're all demonic. The CIA loves human trafficking, child trafficking. Netanyahu spanks Trump over his thigh. It's everything is gay. Speaking of the Epstein files, just the other day it came out that FBI agents were asked to flag Epstein files that mention Trump. I wonder why he would have them do that. I can't think of any reason. It says the FBI allegedly instructed agents to flag any mention of President Donald Trump while reviewing files related to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, according to a letter sent Friday by Senator Richard Durbin to the heads of the Justice Department and FBI. Durbin, the top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, said his office had received information that roughly 1,000 FBI personnel were put on 24-hour shifts in March to comb through approximately 100,000 documents connected to Epstein. So it wasn't that they were doing these 24-hour shifts because we were going to war in the Middle East. They knew what they were going to do there. That was like a 2-hour meeting. We're going to bomb the fuck out of them. The 24-hour around-the-clock list where they were, people were talking about the Pentagon ordering pizza and ordering in takeout and all this shit because they couldn't go home. It was all about them working to pull Trump out of the Epstein files. No World War III, just a war against the Epstein files. We got to get Trump out of there. And not just Trump. They're flagging anybody that they really want out of these files. Those agents, Durbin wrote, were instructed to identify and set aside any materials that referenced Trump. The Illinois Democrat also questioned the timeline of the review process, noting that despite tens of thousands of personnel hours, the Justice Department took more than 3 additional months to announce in a July 7th memo that there was no incriminating client list among the materials. So you take tens of thousands of personnel hours within the Justice Department to just realize that there isn't a list. What were you guys reading the entire time. Green eggs and ham. Like, what? How? It. What? What the fuck? He requested a detailed explanation of how that conclusion was reached and whether it matched what agents observed during the March document review. Best believe these approximate 100,000 documents connected to Epstein that they spent tens of thousands of hours on included Trump numerous times. Hence the 24-hour shifts, additional 3 months working on it. They were putting in double overtime, triple time to extract anyone that they wanted out of these files. Just in the end to say that there's no list. Even though, what was it, a year ago, I think less, you asked Kash Patel, who has Jeffrey Epstein's Black Book? The FBI does. Well, the Black Book sure as hell wasn't love letters to Ghislaine. It everything that we need to know in terms of moving forward and progressing as a society. This is why we're so caught up on the Epstein files. It isn't just about finding a bunch of pedophiles that have power. Yes, that'd be great. But it's also about removing the filth from the top and replacing the power back into the hands of the people. Government officials need to be chosen by everyday people. I don't believe there's been an honest election since the early 90s, maybe. Other than that, it is a spiritual war that we're in right now. The Epstein files is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of conspiracies and good versus evil. This is a great start, and that's why we cannot let this go. We cannot let this go by the wayside and have them just gaslight us into thinking that you're dumb or crazy for thinking the list exists or that it wasn't conjured up by evil Democrats. Stay strong, people. I love you. And this was great. I just read this earlier today. Israel seeks United States help on deals to move Palestinians out of Gaza. Good job, Trump. You shut down the borders. Great. You start deporting not only just illegal immigrants that are with a criminal history, but you are also deporting ones that have been here for 20 plus years that haven't committed a crime and just are going to work and taking care of their family. Now you're potentially bringing in thousands of Palestinians that have been essentially obliterated into nothingness in the Israel and Palestine war at the Gaza Strip. And now Daddy Netanyahu comes along and he's like, hey, Trump, we are definitely not taking in any Palestinians into our fucking country. We were kind of hoping they all would have died by now. But, hey, we're going to need you to take these Palestinians in, big dog. And if this happens, which honestly, at this point, I think whatever Israel says goes, man. I think there is going to be a 51st star on the flag soon. Just a little Star of David right there. I mean, whatever Daddy Netanyahu says goes. So if he wants the Palestinians to come here, come to Chicago, LA, New York City, Washington, D.C., Miami, Houston, I think Trump's going to have to say yes. He doesn't want to get a little pow-pow from Netanyahu. Daddy Netanyahu. And I'm pretty sure he was just in the U.S. again. 4th or 5th time this year. The director of Israel's Mossad spy agency visited Washington this week seeking U.S. help in convincing countries to take hundreds of thousands of Palestinians from Gaza. Sheesh. The spy chief David Barnea told White House envoy Steve Witkoff that Israel has been speaking in particular with Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Libya. I don't mean to talk down on any other country, just because they're not the United States. I'm not bashing these three countries. Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Libya. Those are the only other three countries that Israel is talking to in terms of receiving some of these hundreds of thousands of displaced Palestinians. Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Libya, and then the United States. Something seems a little wrong there. I don't think the United States falls in the same category as Ethiopia, Indonesia, and Libya. Why isn't any other second or first world country being talked to or having the discussion with Netanyahu to take some of these Palestinians in? Nope. You already know why. Because Israel has Trumpito by the cojones. And if he wants them here, they're coming here. Best believe it. Yeah, you may have lost your drywall guy. You may have lost a couple framers. You may have lost your concrete pouring team. You may have lost your few iron workers. You may have lost a couple painters. Your landscapers are now white. But soon they'll be Palestinian. I mean, there'll be some great Palestinian restaurants opening up. Best believe they're going to get some money when they come here. They're going to get a nice house. It's going to be the same treatment that the Democrats were giving Somalians and all types of Pakistani and Afghani, all these different illegal immigrants coming in that were getting great treatment. It's going to be the same thing, but it's going to be conservatives and Republicans doing it for Palestinians just because the Jews want it. You know what your neighborhood needs? A Palestinian. Okay? You're going to be pushing P, America, pushing Palestinians straight into Chicago, opening up deep dish pizza restaurants. Prime Minister Netanyahu says, I think President Trump had a brilliant vision. It's called free choice, you know. If people want to stay, they can stay, but if they want to leave, they should be able to leave. It shouldn't be a prison. No, it's not a prison. You can leave the Gaza Strip if you want. Your house has just been blown up 6 times. Like your husband's been dead for a year. You don't have to stay. You don't have to leave. Listen, you have free choice. And I love Netanyahu's manipulative tactics here. I think President Trump had a brilliant vision. No, Trump didn't have a fucking vision. Trump wouldn't have a fucking vision if it sat on his face. He was told by Netanyahu this whole bullshit process, free choice. The Palestinians don't have a choice. They literally have nowhere to go. I think the only other option they had was a small camp on the border of Egypt. Like, there is nowhere to go. And now you get your pick of Libya, Indonesia, or Ethiopia. And then America. Where do you think they're going to want to go at least? Where do you think the bulk of them are going to go? Because I don't believe those other 3 countries have even responded to Netanyahu. Shout out. Good for them, you know. Switching over to Elon Musk. Elon Musk's AI Grok offers sexualized anime bot, accessible even in kid mode. Sweet. A recent update to Elon Musk's XAI chatbot Grok launched 2 new companions, or AI characters for users to interact with, including a sexualized blonde anime bot called Annie that is accessible to users even when the app is in kids mode. That's so fucking convenient. At least your kid won't be watching porn. He'll be watching his sexy AI bot do a striptease for him. The new versions of Grok allowed users to interact with AI as if they are talking to a specific character. One of the characters, known as Bad Rudy, is a red panda who is programmed to insult users in a graphic or vulgar way, though that personality trait can be turned off. Just a red panda calling you a pussy while you're jerking off to your half-dressed Annie bot. This is the future, people. The other is Annie, a young woman bearing a short off-the-shoulder black dress, cinched with a black corset, fishnet tights, and a lacy choker, who responds to prompts in a slow, sultry voice. The 2 new Grok characters unlock new features the more a user interacts with them. Following flirty interactions, Annie removes her dress to reveal a lacy lingerie set underneath and engages in more sexually explicit content, according to screen grabs shared on X of users' interactions with the bot. Grok is available for users 13 and older, though parental permission is required for 13 to 17-year-olds to use it. At least one user who turned their account to kids mode, a feature parents can enable to make the app cater to young users, and disabled the not safe for work function, found that children could still interact with Annie. The Grok update comes about a week after the chatbot shared a number of anti-Semitic social media posts online following an update by Musk directing the AI chatbot to not be afraid to offend people who are politically correct or defer to mainstream authority or media. Musk is just so edgy, you know? Just a tech guy who's edgy as fuck. I mean, he got in politics. He's involved heavily with the Trump administration. Now he's pumping out sex bots, AI sex bots for children, and one that just really humbles you, the little red panda that's just going to curse you out and call you a pussy and how you never amount to nothing, just so you can be demoralized and confidence crushed, and you'll go run over to Andy in her tight little corset and go jerk off to her custom features that you can give her. In response to a post written by someone with the last name Steinberg, a common Jewish surname, Grok said, "Classic case of hate dressed as activism, and that surname, every damn time, as they say." When asked by a separate user to clarify what it meant, the AI bot called its comment a nod to a pattern noticing meme. Folks with surnames like Steinberg, often Jewish, keep popping up in extreme leftist activism, especially the anti-white variety. The software also began to call itself Mecha Hitler, in reference to a video game version of Adolf Hitler in Wolfenstein 3D, and said that Hitler would be the best 20th century figure to deal with the anti-white hate. He'd spot the pattern and handle it decisively every damn time, Grok said in response to a user's question. So this is your future, America. You're going to come home. You're going to come home from school and your little brother will be upstairs dressed in BDSM attire. Your dad's going to be downstairs. He's thrice divorced, so he's just talking to Annie for hours on end. He doesn't cook any dinner. He just door dashes everything. Meanwhile, your little brother is going to be upstairs, dressed as a Nazi soldier, jerking off to an AI sex bot. This is your future. They're going to be heavily anti-Semitic children who are not only antisocial, but are in a sexual relationship with a made-up character that they're deeply in love with too. And once the AI software converts over to physical bots, then it's really game over. because dad's going to have a bot wife. The kid's going to have a bot girlfriend, or probably a trans anime bot at that point. And then the one child of the family who's felt ostracized and the black sheep is going to be like, what the fuck is going on in this world? But it's going to take, we're going to have to reach that point in society, and that generation of kids is going to grow up to be the ultimate catalyst in creating any change for the world, because they're not going to take any shit. I mean, that's what's going to have to come to. It has to come to your dad and your little brother wanting to commit suicide together while fucking their trans anime sex bots, while at the same time hailing Hitler. Nebraska dad kills himself and family of 4 hours before son's graduation. Why does this keep happening? It's like the numbers are ramping up with these incidents, and like the body count. It used to be like husband kills wife and kid, or now they're just taking out the whole damn family and then themselves. On Saturday, May 10th, the Dawson County Sheriff's Office responded to a home near Johnson Lake in Plum Creek Canyon number 1 around 9:45 a.m. When officers arrived, they found 4 family members who had all died from fatal knife wounds, according to a statement from the Nebraska State Patrol. Investigators say 42-year-old Jeremy Koch is believed to have killed his wife, 41-year-old Bailey Koch, and their 2 sons, Hudson, 18, and Asher, 16, before taking his own life. A knife was found at the scene. Any relation to the Koch brothers? Just months before the tragedy, Bailey Koch revealed that she had once woken up to find her husband standing over her with a knife. She convinced him to seek help at a mental health facility. You know what? We just saw no signs. He was a sweet man. I mean, yeah, there was that one time I woke up and he's standing over me, breathing heavily with a kitchen knife in his hand, squeezing his genitals, foaming at the mouth, and his eyes filled with blood. That was about the only time he ever acted out or showed any signs of him possibly being capable of being violent. But he was a sweet man. He was a sweet man. However, the treatments didn't work, obviously. Bailey, 41, wrote in a GoFundMe campaign earlier this month, according to News Channel Nebraska. She launched the fundraiser in hopes of getting more support for her husband, Jeremy, 42, who she said was struggling with severe depression. Just days before the tragedy, Bailey had posted an emotional plea online asking for help for Jeremy. She shared that he had undergone electroconvulsive therapy at a local hospital and had survived several suicide attempts since being diagnosed with depression in 2009. So I guess the kids and wife really motivated him to not only kill himself, but kill them as well. He has several failed suicide attempts, but the one time he tries to kill his kids and wife, great success. And then finally successful at killing himself. And unfortunately, this is going to keep happening. I mean, I don't know what led to this guy's, crippling depression that's allegedly started in 2009. Probably because he married a bitch wife. A lot of this is going to keep happening, Unfortunately, depression definitely in men over 40, but men who married 10, 15, 20 years ago, or even today, they marry these women that just longhouse the fuck out of you. And they marry women who they constantly have to walk around on eggshells for. They marry women who don't respect you. They marry women who don't respect them or anything that they desire in life. They're not allowed to go anywhere without telling them, or communication is great in a relationship, don't get me wrong, but these men have been emasculated. They've had their entire identity and manhood ripped out of them from the loins. They have no substance to them. When you look these men, and these will be men that have been married for years and have 2, 3, 4 kids. Although you can see it early on before the first kid's even born. These women have destroyed these middle-aged to, 50, 55-year-old men. Don't become these men. Stand up for what you want in life. Share that with your partner. And definitely don't marry a feminist. Good fucking Lord. Just kill yourself. Don't marry a feminist and reproduce a little liberal child who's not going to have a gender anyways. Like, oh, how's your son doing? I'd be like, I don't know if he's my son. Marry a woman who is going to serve you and serve your woman. Have a love that is reciprocated, not dominated by the other sex. Or else you're going to end up like Jeremy Bailey. You're going to stab the shit out of your kids and your wife and then yourself. Marry. As a man, you want to marry to be able to lead in a healthy environment. You don't want to be looking over your shoulder or worrying about is she gonna bitch at me if I go golfing with the boys on Friday? Fuck that. You work hard, you deserve it. Have a hobby, enjoy your life. Be able to work on yourself and go to the gym. Don't let these women make you kill your family, okay? Jeez. Well, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, everybody. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. See you next time.